The president and GOP leaders are insisting that Trump's latest racist comments are not, in fact, racist, despite the fact that they are definitely super racist. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. Trump has spent the week reeling off a series of unhinged tweets and tirades defending his racist attack on 4 Democratic congresswomen of color, in which he told them to go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came. Of course, they're Americans. 3 of them were born here, and the 4th is a refugee and naturalized citizen. So if their country is broken and crime-infested, that's on you. Trump accidentally burned himself. It's like if someone said, man, your parents must have really screwed you up, and that someone was your mom. So given the fact that they're American citizens, reporters this afternoon followed up on Trump's comments, and he once again defended them.
If people want to leave our country, they can. If they don't want to love our country, if they don't want to fight for our country, they can. I'll never change on that. They are not espousing the views of our country. The 4 congresswomen, I think that they've said horrible things that the press doesn't cover. I think you should try covering it. When you look at some of the things they said, they're unthinkable. If somebody else or me or anybody else said things like that, it would be historic. So you ought to look at some of the horrible statements, because there's never been statements like that.
Trump's brain disease won't let him backtrack, no matter how far over the line he goes. If he said, I'm going to eat this apple, and you said, dude, that's an onion, he would stand there and eat the whole thing with tears streaming down his face.
This is a really good apple. Is this so good and delicious?
Also, those congresswomen do love our country, as evidenced by the fact that they've chosen to spend their time and energy serving in Congress despite having to deal with your bull every day. I mean, if I had to do their jobs for one day, I'd be like, it, I'm moving to Maine. I'm gonna open up one of those trendy furniture stores that sells tree stump coffee tables. I mean, all I do is make fun of you, and I'm exhausted. This is what I looked like when the Trump administration started. I mean, who needs Face App when you have Trump for a president? Also, you're accusing them of saying horrible things about our country. You spent the 8 years of the Obama administration and the 2016 campaign constantly lying and trash-talking the country.
The U.S. has become a dumping ground for everybody else's problems.
We're like a dumping ground for the world. We're a dumping ground.
The United States is becoming a dumping ground.
We used to be at the top. Now we're like a third world country.
We're like a third world country.
We're becoming a third world country because of our infrastructure, our airports, our roads, everything.
The whole world is looking at us and laughing at us.
The world is laughing at us. They're laughing at the stupidity of our president.
Well, I'm glad that's over. So Trump called America a dumping ground, a third world country, and a laughingstock. I'd tell him to go back to where he came from, but I'm pretty sure he just appeared after a bunch of teens played with a Ouija board they found in the woods. Of course, since it summoned Trump, the word Ouija was probably misspelled. So Trump mounted a racist attack on 4 Democratic congresswomen of color and then defended that attack with lies about the congresswomen he was attacking, which of course gave Republicans a chance to courageously stand up to the president by pulling their favorite move, pretending they haven't heard about it and desperately waiting for the elevator doors to close. Here's one senator trying out an especially unconvincing response.
You saw the president's tweets this weekend.
Actually, I was out of town.
Oh! Well, actually, Twitter has a new feature where you can even read the tweets out of town. The way it works is the same. Anyway, go on.
Well, he said that these progressive congresswomen should go back to their countries. I'm wondering what your reaction is to that.
I'm working hard as I can on reducing health care costs. I'm not giving a daily commentary on the president's tweets.
But these are, racist tweets. I mean, do you have any concerns about it? The president said that these minority congresswomen should go back to their countries. Do you respond?
I hadn't read that, but I'll go check it out.
Okay.
Man, what would Republicans in Congress do if the Capitol didn't have elevators? They'd have to carry around houseplants just so they could hide behind them. What do you think of the president's tweets? I'm sorry, I haven't seen them. Now, if you'll excuse me, Is he gone? Also, I'm sorry, but can we please retire this "I haven't seen the tweet" excuse? No one believes you. In fact, this excuse is getting so absurd that Trump's acting director of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, Ken Cuccinelli, tried it on CNN literally right after an anchor read the tweet on air.
The president sent this out yesterday at 8 a.m. So interesting to see progressive Democratic congresswomen who originally came from countries whose governments are a complete and total catastrophe, the worst, most corrupt and inept anywhere in the world, if they even have a functioning government at all, now loudly and viciously telling the people of the United States, the greatest and most powerful nation on earth, how our government is to be run. Why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came? What did you think of that tweet?
Well, I didn't see that tweet, actually. I can hear what you're reading.
Yeah, you just heard it. She just read it to you. Republicans are like your friends who haven't seen a TV show trying to avoid spoilers while they're watching the show. No, don't give it away. Seriously, the only way you could support Trump without lying at this point is if you have the part of your brain that's responsible for memory replaced with the brain of a goldfish. I hadn't seen the tweet. I just showed you the tweet. What tweet? The president's tweet. Sorry, one sec. I gotta eat these food flakes. By the way, just to give you an idea of how fully and completely Republicans have debased themselves in service of Trump, that same guy, Ken Cuccinelli, staged a floor fight at the 2016 Republican National Convention to change the convention rules, and even made a big show of dramatically throwing his credentials on the floor. And after that happened, Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr., slammed Cuccinelli and called him an idiot.
I have the same group of 4 people running around. They wait for a camera to show up, and then they take their credentials and try to dramatically throw them on the floor. They look like idiots.
You're talking about Ken Cuccinelli. Is you calling him an idiot?
Yeah, I'm saying these people look like idiots when they're doing that.
Imagine how pathetic you have to be to take a job in the Trump administration after Donald Trump Jr. called you an idiot. Donald Trump Jr., this is a guy who doesn't even know how to stand like a normal human being. I mean, look at him. He always looks like he's waiting for someone to pin a medal on his chest. My father said I'm getting an award for most oily. What all this is exposing once again is the rot of intellectual bad faith within the GOP. For years, they claimed that when they criticized President Obama, they were just upholding the Constitution, and that they complained they were being unfairly maligned as racist. And to prove that they would be consistent, they said they would also stand up to a Republican president. For example, according to a new book out this week, then Republican Congressman Mick Mulvaney, who is now Trump's acting chief of staff, said back in 2016, we're not going to let Donald Trump dismantle the Bill of Rights. For 5.5 years, every time we got to the floor and tried to push back against an overreaching president, we get accused of being partisan at best and racist at worst. When we do it against a Republican president, maybe people will see it was a principled objection in the first place. Well, they didn't, because it wasn't. Republicans are literally hiding in elevators to avoid criticizing Trump. If you get in an elevator with a Republican senator, be careful, because they might hit every button. Sorry, I just need a couple of minutes. Hey, can you show me how to open Twitter? No, not the regular one, travel Twitter. Oh, God, man, it has been a day. It has been, The last few days have exposed once again that the 8 years Republicans spent criticizing Obama weren't actually about principled objections. The same guys who said they'd stand up to Trump are now working for him or hiding in elevators to avoid criticizing the racism and corruption and
Stupidity of our president.
There's been a closer look.